So after I stopped crying and extended my appreciation for this incredible honor, and after I got past my immediate reaction of praying for hair salons to open in advance of tonight, which obviously were not heard, I thought of two things. One, how proud my parents would be. They themselves, as mentioned, survivors of the Holocaust, both of whom were my heroes, who became leaders in the Montreal Jewish community and passed on to me the love and belief in the strength of community, Judaism, and Israel. Secondly, that I would now become the fifth woman in her own name, the first born outside of Ottawa, and the first Reform Jew of any gender to be the recipient of this prestigious Gilbert Greenberg Award. I am truly honored. I'd like to extend as well my personal Yasher Koach to my fellow award recipients. You are an inspiration to all of us and representative of the caliber of volunteers we have in our community. I have had a long volunteer career, spanning 50 years from the time I was youth group president to most recently chairing the Shoah Committee. But I believe the creation of Dragon Boat Israel, known as DBI, was the culmination of all I've learned in my various positions. From the many roles I held at Temple Israel, I gained an understanding of what inclusivity means and how everyone needs to be welcomed on the boat, irrespective of their background, physical ability, gender identification, or religious affiliation. For my volunteer work at Jewish Family Services, where our family mentored and supported a new immigrant family, I understood, but for the grace of God, this could have been my family, and how a charitable component was essential to bring to DBI, however foreign this was to our Israeli organizers. How my years with Young Women's Leadership Council as a participant, later as a mentor, taught me the power of the women's collective, and if brought together in a safe, nurturing, and inspiring environment, almost anything could be accomplished. And years later, a small group of Ottawa Jewish women spent hundreds of hours together in the trenches, well, actually mostly in my family room, bringing a dream to reality through DBI. When I was co-chair of the Federation campaign and Jennifer Kardash, a young, unconnected woman, wanted to take the lead and introduce the program Choices to Ottawa, I wanted her to feel supported and embraced. As with DBI, there were many naysayers, but there was only a deep sense of pride when we Ottawans led thousands of participants from Canada, Israel, and around the world in the singing of Hatikva. And in my role as chair of Federation, there were so many lessons to be learned during those challenging 2 years. But the one that I'm most proud was attracting the highest caliber of lay and professional leadership to work for the future success of the Ottawa Jewish community. If one is asked to take on a meaningful role, in my experience, the response is almost always a resounding yes. We can bring people into the room or onto a boat who would have never entered, but who will paddle with their hearts and souls if given the opportunity. I am sure my fellow award winners said yes more times than they can count. And just a small PS, if anyone's curious, DBI is alive and thriving with the boats being used every day and teams practicing and representing Israel in all its diversity around the world. Thanks goes to Mitchell Bellman, Michael Walsh, and Lisa Rosenkrantz for this nomination, and they, along with the Kimmels, have been by my side through much of this wonderful adventure. To my big brothers, who have showered me with endless love since the day I was brought into this world. To my children and grandchildren, who fill me with so much pride and love that some days I feel I might actually burst, and who have carved out their Jewish paths and embraced their heritage, leaving me with a sense of optimism, even in troubling times. And to Ron, who just knows, no words are needed. Thank you again for this honor.